Okay, welcome live from the iBeacon Experience days. It feels like nights actually, guys. It's really dark and it's still early days. Can you please introduce yourself first? Who are you and what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm Jonathan Carter. I'm one of the co-founders of Glimworm Beacons. And I'm here really to support the event in a technical way and just try to make sure the developers are supported as much as possible. Yeah. I'm a developer.
I think the two of you need to get a little closer to the mic. And I think Peter over there agrees. So okay. And
Paul Manwaring, co-founder, Glimworm and Glimworm ITV, Glimworm Beacons, and I'm here. We created this event to get people together in a collaborative, creative environment and to do new fun things with iBeacons.
Yeah. So let's first start with iBeacons for beginners. What is it?
Well, maybe Jonathan's better at that. iBeacon for beginners.
iBeacon for beginners. Okay. Yeah. Well, an iBeacon is it's almost what it says on the tin. It's a beacon, just like the old-fashioned concept of a beacon, just spreading out a little signal. So you put it in a location. It can be indoors, it can be anywhere, and it just beeps out a little signal. But the unique thing is that iBeacons are picked up on Apple smartphones automatically. So they bridge this gap between your geolocation, which you get from your GPS and your satellites, which works outdoors, and this works indoors because it's based on Bluetooth, and it means that you can you're not dependent on. You're not going to get cut off when you go inside the supermarket or something. Mm-hmm. So it's really precise and it's really good for. Yeah,
because that's the problem with, for example, with your phone normally. The location is okay. It's roughly a location, and we know where we are now, but not say the meter or the. So how specific is it? When does it know that I'm around?
Okay, well, they operate in there's a maximum range of around 100 meters, but their normal range is somewhere between 10 and 30 meters would be a good range for them. As you can imagine, if you live in a city, then your GPS is pretty accurate. But if you live outside the city or in the provinces, then really it can be so far off that it's almost useless. But that's the reason for that is that it's trying to determine your position from a satellite, whereas a beacon is only reflecting how close you are to it. So that's another key thing about a beacon. Let's say, for instance, if you had a beacon attached to an advertisement board, and that advertisement board moved, then the beacon would still be telling you how close you are to the advertisement board. You don't have to reprogram it. With geolocation, you would have to tell the map, oh no, this has moved somewhere else. So it's tied to the location, and it can be pretty precise. I mean, it's down to 30 centimeters. You can get pretty accurate results.
Yeah. Can you give me some examples of usage so people get an idea what you can do with this information?
Well, there's been a couple of hackathons already. One in San Francisco and one in London, which we were involved with as hardware partners, and they came up with some great examples. One was very useful in the sense that it had on a life vest on a boat a sensor so that it could detect when somebody had gone overboard and then send a signal to the boat that somebody was overboard. There's a lot of e-health applications for the elderly, for instance, monitoring the movement of a pill bottle, for instance, and then loading that information up to a database, and then you can be alerted if somebody hasn't moved a pill bottle in a certain amount of time. There's other very simple applications, like if you go into a store and if you are in the aisle for coffee, and if you've been standing there, and if the store is iBeacon enabled, then you can instantly get information on coffee without having to do any searches. Mm-hmm. And it's young days, and that's one of the reasons why we're having this hackathon is to explore the technology and come up with some interesting new use cases.
Yeah, because what you have around, is that an example of your?
This is a beacon, yeah.
Yeah, of your product. So that's the size it can be or is, yeah. And why did you start doing this? What intrigued you most about the possibilities?
Well, to tell you the truth, it was Jonathan's idea to start exploring the possibilities of actually manufacturing beacons on a mass level.
Because hardware is well, it's easier to start something with software, so you can keep on making it better, etc. Hardware most of the time is quite a nightmare.
If I can just say, the world is completely changing in this aspect. You know, it used to be to do a software startup 10 years ago, it was as difficult as it is to do a hardware startup. I mean, you know, there were the IBMs of the world that were just incumbents, but everybody can start up a software company. That's been a while now, but with the maker movement and people making do-it-yourself stuff at home, and the advent of Kickstarter as a way that you can even get funding for your projects, you know, it's no longer people like Philips that have the monopoly on generating new ideas into products. In fact, you see it's the opposite way around now. Mm-hmm. It's very fertile ground for individuals and small groups and companies to do spin-offs, and that's really the way the landscape has changed completely. We would never have been able to do this had it not have been for those kind of forces that came into line.
Yeah, and what you do is an example of, say, the worlds of hardware and software getting together, working together.
They're merging, yes, yeah. Definitely, yeah. Especially when, like Jonathan talks about the maker movement, and he started to first get involved with the maker movement specifically in 2010 for a project with the Vox Society called the Air Quality Egg.
Yeah.
And those were very early days, I think, for IoT and the maker movement, and that was funded on Kickstarter.
It was, yeah. And
so then Jonathan met people, and then we started hosting Internet of Things meetups, and
yep.
Then I became involved with the project for a Vodafone Mobiles for Good challenge called the Healthy Life Lamp, and Jonathan and I came up with the idea to create a passive sort of ambient assisted living IoT device that monitored light and movement and sound, so that you could be alerted if there was a lack of activity or too much activity in a home of an elderly person. So that we just kind of start to become more and more involved with the community, meet more and more people, and as we developed our ideas and our interests and passion, technology moved ahead, and we found ourselves in a place where we could then start really thinking seriously about mass production.
Yeah. So there's the 2 days people are working with ideas and trying to get to working models of the ideas they have. What are their challenges? What do they need to do?
Make something cool.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Make something very cool.
Yeah.
It's a hackathon. It's about breaking ground. It's about pushing the technology as far as you can push it, as quickly as you can push it, and coming up with something that's really new and different, about solving problems using technology in ways that have never been explored or done before. We'd love to see something groundbreaking, and new.
And I think that it's possible, especially here in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam specifically. We've been involved in hackathons and these type of events for quite a few years now, and when we meet larger corporations, especially from the States, and they're coming to Europe, they first go to England normally, and then they look to continental Europe. And I've met so many companies that come here to Amsterdam, and they say, hey, you know, we're trying to find these developers, but all this new stuff comes out of Amsterdam. It's all groundbreaking, it's all cool, it's all really, really top end. But you know, in England it's very easy because we find these groups, but in the Netherlands there's a very individualistic mindset. Yeah. People really, most people in the tech community, they're freelancers. They don't work really for a big corporation. They like to do really cool things in their spare time, and they're not to be found in the normal way. It's almost like a whole underground world here. Yeah. And so I think that you know, I went to the London hackathon, and there were some good things there, but if I compare the creativity of thought with the sort of things that we hear on a daily basis here in the Amsterdam community, I really think that there is such a huge capability here.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Was it always difficult when you live somewhere to have an idea? Yeah, is it different or is it not different from other cities and
It's
other
very
countries?
different.
Definitely, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
different here.
We've been to hackathons. You've been to Berlin, and we've been to Paris together, and yeah, you've been to London. And
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And definitely the creativity and the freedom of thought, and just there's something about Amsterdam that just enables innovation.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Okay, well let's talk later on tomorrow and see how innovative the people have been. So thank you for now.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.